Hey, I want to show you how easy it is to add custom plugins to Invoker. So there are many ways of how you can add plugins and many different areas of the application where you can hook into with a plugin. So a plugin could either be a sidebar navigation entry, which gives you full access to whatever you want to do. You get a view component, and then you basically have access to the Electron background process, as well as the render part of Electron. You can execute PHP code, you can execute code on the via Node on the machine, whatever you want to do, you can do that in here. The other ability is we can add a custom panel to a full resource view. So if we open a model, let's say this post, then we can see all of the database entries that we have. But since this is Invoker, which runs through Laravel, we can also get access to accessors or relation counts. And then you have these panels where you can add custom, for example, relations. So I could see all the tags for this post. It doesn't have any tags right now. But I could also create a plugin that creates a custom panel that I can then show in this list here. And the third one, which I want to show you in this video, is a custom context menu. So with Invoker, you can do things like right-click on one or multiple entries in your models, and then you can, for example, edit them, delete them, copy them as PHP arrays or models, JSON, HTML table. And we can also add custom logic to this context menu. So let me show you how this works. So for this post, I think it would be nice if we would have an option to say publish post. So let's add a new plugin. We can choose the developer menu from Invoker and then choose create model context menu plugin. It asks you for a name. So let's just say context menu. And it automatically copies the scaffolding for this context menu plugin to your project directory. So all projects have this .invoker plugins directory, so you can deploy these plugins or add it to source control. So when you check out your projects or use the Invoker via SSH, you can use the same plugins, which is really cool. All right. So let's go to our context menu and install all the npm dependencies. And while this is running, let's take a look at what we have in here. So this is our context menu plugin that was generated for us. And it basically has only two files, which is the main.js file, which is a file that gets added to the background or the main process of Invoker. So in here, you could do, for example, listen for an event from the renderer process and then perform a long-running task or something like that. We don't need this right now. And then we have the renderer.js, which takes care of adding the context menu to Invoker, basically. So we can give it a custom label, which would be publish post. Then we have a click event. And last but not least, we also have a callback, which determines if the context menu should be visible in the first place. So let's just save this and see if yarn is done. All right. So we can do yarn watch. And with all that, without changing a single file, if we now right-click, it does not appear, but we can just refresh. This is now going to reload Invoker, open the same page again, and if we now right-click, we see our new plugin, which is pretty cool. So we can now click on this, and by default, let me just clear this up. Click again. By default, this is just going to do two things. First of all, it logs the selected entries. So here we have the model that was selected, or an array of all the selected models if you would select multiple ones, with all of its attributes, so you can access them in the context menu. And then we also evaluated some code. So we, with Invoker, we can do something like Invoker evaluate. and then basically run PHP code within this context menu whenever someone clicks on it. So in here we could do something like we get the model out of the database, which would be our post. We find the appropriate entry, and then you could do something like model publish or whatever you want to do. All right, and then once this is done, we can show a notification. So we can also hook into this. So we can say context.app.notification. And then I think it was title publish to post and text. The post was successfully published. Save this. All right, we're still watching. Let's just reload again. Right click, publish post. All right, and there it is. We have our nice little notification. Now, this context menu plugin is available for all my models, which means that if I go to user and right click here, I also have the ability to publish a post, which does not make a lot of sense. We only want to restrict this context menu plugin to posts. So for this, we can modify this callback, which right now only returns true, which will be used to determine if the context menu should be available in the first place. You can check for many different things. First of all, you get the array of the selected entries, so you can make a check that this is, for example, only available if you click one specific model. And then you get the model definition, which gives you access to all the attributes of the class, all of its relations, as well as the model name itself, like we have here. So for this, we basically only want to show our context menu if the class that is being accessed is equal to app models post. Let's save this, go to our post and refresh to reload the plugin. Right click, here it is, we can publish the post. And if we go to our user now and right click, it's no longer there. So like this, it's just very easy to add custom actions within the context menu to Invoker. And as I said, these plugins are living in your project directory, so you can commit them to Git, push it to the server, and if you connect to the remote server via Invoker, those plugins will just be there and you can use them right away.